So this video popped up the other day of this sort of weird looking woman, very extreme woman with lots of tattoos, talking about how she educates her children. This has been kind of making the rounds out here on YouTube and on TikTok and stuff like that. This woman's name is Mommy Onami. And she's got main character syndrome, that's for sure. But she looks to be like a sort of spiritualist influencer kind of person. In fact, that seems to be what her job description is. She says that she's a professional intuitor and a spiritual teacher in her other videos. And it's like, yeah, okay, whatever you're into, that's cool. But this is the video here about free school that has gotten a lot of reactions from people, where she talks about how she homeschools her child. Let's listen to what she's got to say.
So we don't teach our children anything. Everything that they learn is in response to either their interests or their questions. We have no curriculum, we have no school hours. We really just respond whenever they want to know something and do our best to make sure they really get it. And my big fear about free schooling was that if my kids only went towards what they were interested in, saving all of their real estate only for things they're interested in, not cramming it with anything necessary, I was concerned that they would never be interested in things like reading and writing and math. My son's 6, and it took some patience and not comparing myself to other moms, but this is his book. Look at this. Lamp. Egg. Jar.
Okay, he's 6 years old. This is what the kid is writing. Let's rewind that a little bit. This is the kid. He's 6. Can you guys see that? Let's make that a little bit bigger so that you guys can see it. 6 years old. And just look at his handwriting there for 6, okay? Egg. Does that say egg? She has to turn it upside down. I mean, I guess that's an E. And those are 2 G's. I guess.
Jar.
I mean, look at that. Is that even an A? It looks like a rectangle. I mean, okay, you know, I don't want to be telling you how to raise your children, but kind of looks like little Johnny there needs a little bit of help with his handwriting. And yeah, let's listen. There's a little bit more to the video. Let's listen to more.
Lion. This is him.
Lion. Okay, we gotta look at the lion. Does that say lion? I mean, it looks like two lines and O-N. I mean, you sure it's not supposed to say hun and maybe he forgot to make the H or something? Or is that even the word lion? I guess. I think we can all agree that this kid's literacy level is way below where it should be for someone who's 6 years old. I don't know about any of you guys, but I could read at 6. I mean, yeah, okay, I could read at the usual first grade level. But even something like a Dr. Seuss book is like way beyond what this kid is demonstrating here. He's functionally illiterate. That's fucking sad. That's horrible. And this woman is like using this as a big win. As like, oh, look at what my kid did on his own. I didn't have to teach him anything. He's so smart. He's so inquisitive. Think about how much smarter he would be if somebody actually taught him how to read and write, instead of him trying to figure it out himself. Moving on.
This is him doing this by himself. Copying down words from other places, asking us more. Same with addition. Mom, what's 7 plus 5? It will come at the right time. But If you do not like this idea of sending your kids away for 40 hours a week and then wondering why they have no energy to do anything else, if you are not into your kids conforming, trust that you can follow their interests and they will learn everything they need to learn, not what other people need them to learn.
You're welcome. So, first off, you can see the main character syndrome, right? You're welcome. Oh, like you're doing us a big fucking favor. Shut the fuck up. But that's the first thing. This is the arrogance there. It just gets me. Some women, when they have children, think that that their shit no longer stinks. You know what I mean? You ever encounter that? You ever encounter like someone who's like a mother and they think that they deserve everything and that everything they say is right and that you should bend over backwards to accommodate them? You know, not only should you do the normal, ordinary sort of like good neighbor things like holding doors open and like letting them sit down on the bus, like shit like that. Not only should you do that kind of thing, but you should like go out of your way to be super nice, and you should give them your seat at the airport and on the airplane and like all this other stuff, and give them their meal for free and like all this other shit. Just because they have children, they think they're so fucking special. It's like, yeah, you and like, 4 billion other women on Earth. Oh, my little baby's a miracle. Yeah, like 4 billion, other women with 4 billion other little miracles all over the place. Just thinking that they deserve like special fucking treatment because they have a kid. It's like, join the club, bitch. Everybody has a fucking kid. No, just because you have a child doesn't mean that you're instantly super smart and know everything and are right about everything and that everyone deserves to fucking lick your feet or whatever. Like, fuck you. Wait in line like everybody else. Right? Like, that's the first thing. Like she's dropping big wisdom on us. Get the fuck out of here. Second thing, the kid is obviously behind. By any stretch of the imagination, he's behind. That's how he's writing and reading at 6 years old. He's at least, that's like a toddler should be writing that way. Like what this kid is writing is like way below. That's like kindergartner kind of. Not even that. Like in kindergarten, you learn how to write. You learn your ABCs. You learn how to write them out. You learn how to spell certain things, easy words, cat, dog, fox, house, shit like that, rabbit, whatever. You learn these things. And by the time you're in, 6 years old is like first grade. 6, 7, that's first grade. And by the time you're in first grade, you should already know these fundamentals. You already know your addition and subtraction. Or at least in the concept of it. A lot of what you learn in like those early years, they just sort of drill that stuff into you so that you memorize it, so that you get it, so that you can do it without thinking. You don't have to sit there and count on your fingers. Okay, what's 6 times 7 or whatever? You don't have to sit there and work it all out and do long division. Okay, how many times does 6 go into 36? Like, you don't have to sit there and like compute it. You just get it already because you've done it 5,000 times. There's benefit to that. I get what she's trying to say. I get she's saying, oh, I want my kid to be interested and stuff. It's like, yeah, okay. I completely 100% understand that. You know why? Because I was not, as a child, I was uninterested in school. I didn't give a flying fuck about school at all. If I could have never gone to school, I would have done it. I would have stayed home every fucking day and played video games. And you know something? That's what this kid is going to do. If you leave it up to him to decide what he's interested in, he's going to be interested in fucking Mortal Kombat and Mario Kart. Or whatever, I don't know, what are the kids playing nowadays? What, Minecraft and like Fortnite or whatever? Like, that's what they're going to be fucking interested in. And before you know it, he's going to be a teenager and he's going to have the reading level of a 7-year-old, if he can even read at all. Have any of you ever met someone who was functionally illiterate? It's pathetic. It's really pathetic. I used to know somebody, actually, when I was a teenager. I had a friend named JC, who basically never went to school until he was a teenager. And JC he taught himself how to read, because his parents were negligent. They weren't they weren't like free schoolers like this. That wasn't a thing that existed back in the 90s. But they were like fucking negligent. His parents were like drug addicts. But he had a little brother named Shawnee, who was like, when I met him, he was 13, and I was like, 16. Shawnee was fucking illiterate. And I didn't know this. I just thought he was just lazy. No, he was illiterate because he never went to school. And it was pathetic. My friend tried to teach him how to read once. It was sad. Like, I genuinely felt bad for him because the kid just didn't know. And the thing is, he wasn't dumb. Shawnee he was not dumb. He was a bright kid. He understood stuff. He had an inquisitive mind, and he was funny. Like, funny as in he had a great sense of humor, and he had a great comedic timing. Like, the guy, I mean, I wouldn't say he was brilliant or anything like that, but, he wasn't an idiot. I mean, I don't even know what happened to him. This really fucked him up. Like, bad. They call it the formative years for a reason. That's the years where it's the easiest to learn this shit. It's the easiest to drill concepts, like an alphabet, and addition and subtraction and multiplication and all this other shit. It's easier to do it at a younger age, like your brain is still forming. And it's much, like, for example, it's much easier to teach a child a foreign language than it is an adult. And it's because of physiological changes in your brain make it harder to learn a language when you're older. And it's not that you can't learn a language, it's just it'll be harder. And children are much more capable of picking stuff up like that. That's just the truth. And this is why those formative years are super fucking important. If the kid doesn't learn, get good skills at that age, then he's gonna really struggle with it later on. It's kind of fucking sad. Got a few more of these here. Here's another one where she's kind of talking about the dangers of unschooling. Let's watch this one.
So the whole interview was about, like, the dangers of unschooling, and there was like a homeschooling expert that was like, well, my concern is that they're not going to be civic-minded members of a functioning democracy. First of all, it's dysfunctional, but second of all, that's the whole point, is to not pump out more civic-minded members of a functioning democracy. Oh, so...
Now, I understand what this woman is saying. They want their child to not be just, like she said, a cog in the machine. Yeah, they don't want that for their kid. They don't want their kid to just grow up and have a shitty job and hate his life and come home and have no energy and just work for some fucking nameless, soulless corporation, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, that's commendable. I understand that. But you don't give that to him by not teaching him how to read, by not teaching him arithmetic or grammar or how to write or history or any of the other fucking things that you have to learn when you're in school, least of which among them is civics. See, civics is extremely important. Like, what she laughed at, oh, I don't want him to be a functioning member in order to have a functioning democracy. That is a real danger. A real danger. See, if you don't know how your government is supposed to work, then you won't be able to make informed decisions when it comes time to vote. And you probably won't vote, and that's exactly what the people in power want. The conservatives, especially the conservatives, they don't want people voting. They don't want an informed public, because if you have an informed public, you can make informed decisions, and they don't want that. Because when you make informed decisions, Republicans lose elections. This woman, inadvertently, by doing this, is shooting herself in the foot. Your son will not be politically active. Great. If everybody does that, then nobody will be politically active. Great. Guess what happens then? The people who are politically active win the election, and they get to do whatever the fuck they want, which is make you and your son's life shitty. It's the exact opposite of what you should be doing. You should be instilling in your child a sense of civic duty. You should love your country. Number one. That doesn't mean you love your government. That means you love your country. That means you love the people in your country. No matter where you're from. You could live in North Korea, Afghanistan, wherever. You could live in the shittiest place on earth. Doesn't fucking matter. You should still love your country. because you were born there and it's your country. It's where you live. No one is going to make your country better except you. That's what it means to be civic-minded, okay? That's why it's important to be involved in what's going on around you. Because if you don't want to participate, that's fine. Other people will. They'll participate for you without your best interest in mind. It's a real immature attitude that this woman has. She's expressing shit that when you're like 15 and fuck the system and you're wearing your punk rock anarchy t-shirt and all that other shit. It's the kind of fucking shit that like teenagers think up. That's what this woman is. Like she's like got stuck in that I'm 14 and this is deep kind of phase, and she never got out of it. There's a reason why adolescents and children and teenagers and shit, there's a reason why they're drawn to that anti-authority thought. They develop that attitude, that, you know, fuck the system kind of attitude. There's a reason for that, because you go through a rebellious phase. Most people do when they hit that age. That's why it's something you're supposed to grow out of. Because as you get up and you get older and you understand the world around you a little bit better, it's not all black and white like that. Okay, I think we're going to skip to... There was one about occult magic in cartoons, but maybe we'll save that for another day. But this is one more. This was seemingly a response that she gave after some of the backlash that she got. This is called Regarding Gentle Parenting and Bratty Kids. Let's listen to this.
Gentle parenting content was not on my algorithm until I was like 3 years into my parenting journey with my first child. And it was not gentle, and I was doing the best that I could. I had reached out to people whose kids I loved, whose families I loved, and asked them what to do. But when I did it, what fit them didn't fit me. And I made a lot of mistakes with my first kid. So when the gentle parenting content started showing up on my algorithm, I would roll my eyes, I'd ignore it, I'd be like, this is stupid, there's no way this works for me. Then I got defensive. Their kids are probably going to be ruined. Good thing I make these choices with my kids. And I didn't know that underneath all of that was a really discouraged, really sad mom that so badly wanted to be able to solve problems the way it seemed like other parents were. But I felt like it was too late for me to do it. And my life was changed because one teacher in a book said, listen, I spanked my kids, I yelled at my kids, I screamed, I lost my temper, and none of it worked. Because if that worked, you wouldn't have to keep repeating it. And when someone else was told me, look, I made mistakes and now I'm doing it differently, I realized that even though I can't make a lot of mistakes and be a perfect mom, I can make a lot of mistakes and still be a great mom, and that it's not too late for me.
I can sympathize. Okay, gentle parenting. Basically, they're people that don't use violence or yelling or something like that. You know, they don't talk down to their kids, they don't yell at their kids, they don't spank their kids. And I think that's a great thing. I think that's fantastic. That's great. You should not yell and spank your kids. No, I actually used to think, right? I actually used to think that wasn't a big deal, but now I've kind of changed my stance on it. And I don't believe in hitting children or yelling at them or whatever. But what you do need to do is you need to discipline your kids when they get out of line. Being a gentle parent doesn't mean you just let your kids do whatever they want, whenever they want, without any consequences. And it doesn't mean that you don't teach them. When you're in school, you're not just learning reading, writing, and arithmetic. You're not just learning that. The most important thing you learn in specifically grade school, but to some extent all the way up through college, is you learn how to act around other people. Socialization, how to act in a group, it's not just that. It's not just learning how to show up to class on time and stuff like that, and how to respect authority, that kind of thing. It's not just those things, although they learn that too. They also learn how to make friends, how to act around other people, how to take it when someone is negative towards them. Someone messes with them. Someone steals their lunch. Tries to beat them up in the hallway, whatever, calls them names. This is stuff that's going to happen to them as they grow older. Their kid is going to run into people that are dicks to them. That's just going to happen. They have to learn how to deal with that kind of thing. They have to learn how to stand up for themselves. They have to learn their academics, right? They have to learn how to read. They have to learn how to write. They have to learn history. They have to learn math. They have to learn all of that stuff that you learn in school. But they also have to learn these other things too. How to deal with people who aren't nice to you. How to stick up for yourself when someone's messing with you. How to deal with someone in authority who messes with you. That's another thing you learn in school. Get some asshole teacher who just keeps fucking with you. That's a thing you have to learn, because you're going to grow up and you're going to get a job, and you're going to, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a job and you're not going to like your boss, and your boss is going to fuck with you. And you have to learn how to deal with that. You have to learn how to push back. You have to learn that you're not fucking helpless. You have to learn when to stop, when to quit, and when to fight back, when it's worth fighting back. Sometimes it's not worth fighting back. Sometimes it's better to just leave. You learn all this stuff in school by dealing with other people. How to lose. That's what you learn in school too. You know, life isn't always about winning. You have to learn how to lose. That's why you join sports teams. That's why in grade school, you know, you play kickball and stuff like that in a team, because you're not always going to win. You have to learn how to lose gracefully. That's you get this by socializing with other children. This is what the kid is missing out on. I mean, besides the fact that he's fucking functionally illiterate, when he finally does go to school one day, he's going to be 6-7 years behind everybody else. And he's going to need special fucking tutoring, and he's probably never going to catch up. Besides all that, he's missing out on all of these other essential developmental concepts that he's going to need to have in order to survive in the modern world. She makes another video, which I don't really need to get into, where she talks about, I'm not going to play it, but she makes another video where she basically says, well, I don't believe in teaching these things to kids where it's going to be in a world where AI is going to do all this for them. I got news for you. AI is not going to read for you. It's not going to do math for you. And if you can't do these things, you're not going to be able to get a job using the AI. People think AI, like, by the time, you know, we're going to have robots and shit running everything. No, we're not. No, we're not. It's just going to be a tool. And if you can't display your basic fucking skills that you have from an education, you're not going to get a job where you get to use these tools. That's just the facts. The fantasy world, where robots are running everything and we live in a world of abundance, that's 5, 6, 7 generations off. Maybe we'll get there in like 200 years or something. But 20 years? This kid will be lucky if he can get a job at fucking McDonald's. I guess this woman has a bit of a history when it comes to this kind of thing. Like, I guess she was in like some kind of crazy ass religious cult and all that, and it's like, yeah, okay, I sympathize, you know. I looked at her other content, and most of it is mainly harmless. I guess her job is, like, she says that she's like a spiritual advisor, but if you look at the rest of her videos, it's essentially The Secret. If you've ever seen that movie, The Secret, the whole manifest, like, and it will come kind of like power of positive thinking, new age sort of bullshit. It's like the new age equivalent of the prosperity gospel. Like, that's the kind of shit that she says. The preacher basically makes people feel guilty for being poor, and all you have to do is give, and the Lord will give back to you. Like, it's the same thing, but just taken from a new age perspective, where you just have to believe and unlock your chakras and all this other shit, and wealth and abundance will come to you. You just have to have an attitude of, you know, you have to welcome the abundance and like that kind of thing. Like, it's just positive thinking. It's essentially bullshit, and it's mostly fucking harmless. So, looking at the other things that she posts and believe, it's like, yeah, whatever. You know, you can believe whatever kind of stupid bullshit you want. Nobody cares about your religious beliefs. But yeah, her kid, I don't know. I feel bad for those kids. I hope this kid manages to get himself into school. You know, we have Child Protective Services for a reason. And I wouldn't want to wish that on anybody. I wouldn't want to wish anyone's children being taken away. But I think it's abusive. to keep your kids out of school. I think not teaching your children the basics, at least how to read and write and do math and history, like not teaching them is severely handicapping them for the rest of their life. And I count that as child abuse.
Hello folks, if you like what I do and you want to support the channel, please consider buying something from my Etsy shop, supporting me on Patreon, liking and subscribing, and checking me out across my social media links listed below. Thank you all so much, and see you next time.